The supervisor tied red tape around the rusted grating and walked away. That was it. No repair crew, no safety barrier, no work stoppage. Just red tape fluttering in the Gulf of America wind 80 miles from the Louisiana coast. 3 days later, Marcus Williams stepped on that same grating during his overnight shift and fell through. By the time his crew realized he was missing, it was 2 a.m, and the nearest hospital was a helicopter ride away. What happened next is a process most people never see, never hear about, and hope they never need to understand. But it happens more often than you think, and the way it unfolds depends on which rig you are on, which company owns it, and which country's waters you are floating in. 470 oil and gas workers died between 2014 and 2019 in the United States. Most people assume offshore rigs account for most of those deaths because of how dramatic and isolated they are. They do not. Only 20 of those fatalities happened offshore. The rest occurred on land at drilling sites, refineries, and processing facilities. But here's what makes offshore deaths different. Offshore workers die at 7 times the rate of the average American worker. 27 deaths per 100,000 offshore employees compared to just under 4 deaths per 100,000 for everyone else. The isolation amplifies every risk. When something goes wrong 200 miles from land, every second matters, and the infrastructure to save someone's life is minimal at best. Most offshore deaths never make the news. There is no viral video, no dramatic rescue footage, no candlelight vigil in a town square. The rig keeps operating, the crew keeps working, the body gets removed quietly, the investigation happens behind closed doors, and the family waits on shore for answers that might take months or years to arrive. The general public has no idea how many people die this way or what the protocol looks like when it happens. And that protocol varies wildly. A worker dying on a Norwegian platform in the North Sea follows completely different procedures than someone dying on a Chinese-operated rig off the coast of Angola or an American platform in the Gulf of America. Even within the same country, different companies have different systems. Some rigs have designated morgue spaces with refrigeration units. Others improvise with whatever cold storage they have. There is no universal standard, no global playbook. What happens when you die in the middle of the ocean depends entirely on where you are and who you are working for. When Marcus Williams went missing at 2 a.m, the first person notified was the medic. Every offshore platform has one. They are usually certified emergency medical technicians who have completed accredited paramedic programs, and they are the only medical professional on the entire rig. They work alone. No doctors, no nurses, no trauma team. Just one person with a sick bay that holds basic equipment, bandages, defibrillators, oxygen, some medications, and a stretcher. The medic's job is to stabilize injuries, treat minor illnesses, and make the most critical decision in any serious emergency. Can this person survive with what I have here, or do they need to leave right now? That decision has to happen fast. 18 minutes. That is roughly the window when resuscitation efforts can still bring someone back after cardiac arrest, depending on circumstances. The medic has to assess the injury, start treatment, and contact an onshore doctor through telemedicine. The doctor cannot see the patient in person. They rely on the medic's description, maybe a live video feed if the connection holds, and they're trying to make a life or death judgment call from an office or hospital hundreds of miles away. If the doctor agrees the person needs evacuation, the medic has to coordinate with the rig's management and arrange for a helicopter or a boat. If the weather is bad, that helicopter might not be able to fly. If it is night, visibility drops. If the seas are rough, a boat evacuation becomes exponentially more dangerous. The medic keeps performing resuscitation while waiting, chest compressions, defibrillation, whatever protocols apply. They do not stop until the patient is off the rig and in the hands of a hospital, because only a licensed medical doctor can officially declare someone dead. The helicopter arrives if it can. The distance from rig to shore varies wildly depending on where the platform's located. Some rigs sit 50 miles out. Others are 200 miles from the nearest coast. The crew straps the body to a stretcher, loads it into the helicopter, and watches it lift off into the dark. Then they go back to work. The rig does not shut down. Production continues, drilling continues, The machinery keeps running because stopping an offshore platform is a complicated and expensive process, and unless there is an immediate safety threat to everyone on board, operations continue. The workers who witnessed the evacuation go back to their shifts. Some of them knew the victim, some of them did not. On a large platform, crews rotate on different schedules, and it is entirely possible for someone to die without half the rig even knowing who they were. But not every death ends with an evacuation. Sometimes there is no body to recover. When a platform explodes, when a structure collapses, when someone falls overboard in rough seas, the body might never be found. On April 20th, 2010, the Deepwater Horizon drilling rig suffered a blowout when the blowout preventer failed to seal the well. Methane gas shot up through the drilling column, hit the platform, and ignited. The fireball killed 11 workers instantly. The crew tried to activate the blind shear ram, a massive set of blades designed to cut through the drill pipe and seal the well in an emergency, but it did not work. The platform burned for 2 days and then sank, leaving the well open at the seabed. Some of those 11 bodies were never recovered. Their families held funerals without remains. The investigation proceeded without physical evidence from the victims. In cases like that, the cause of death is often presumed based on the circumstances, because there is no body to examine, no autopsy to perform. The ocean does not give everything back. When someone dies offshore, 2 federal agencies get involved immediately. The Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement and the United States Coast Guard conduct a joint investigation. Federal regulations require the rig operator to report the death to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration within 8 hours. That clock starts the moment the death is confirmed, not when the injury happens. If someone is hurt at midnight but does not die until 6 in the morning, the 8-hour window starts at 6. The Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement has authority under the Outer Continental Shelf Lands Act to investigate any incident that results in death, serious injury, or significant pollution. If the incident is severe enough, they convene a panel investigation that involves multiple investigators, expert witnesses, and a formal hearing process. The panel publishes a detailed report with findings and recommendations, and that report becomes public record. In the Marcus Williams case, the investigation revealed a pattern of negligence that had been building for months. The grating he fell through had been visibly corroding for weeks. Multiple workers had noticed it. The supervisor had noticed it. But instead of ordering an immediate repair or shutting down that section of the platform, the supervisor tied red tape around the area and told people to be careful. The investigation found that Williams missed his check-in at 2 in the morning. He missed another check-in at 4 in the morning. The Coast Guard was not notified until 6:30 a.m. That is 4.5 hours between the first missed check-in and the official distress call. 4.5 hours where he could have been anywhere on the rig, injured, unconscious, or already dead. The report documented all of it: the corroded grating, the red tape, the delayed notification, the decision to mark the hazard instead of eliminating it. The investigation took 9 months to complete. The family received the final report almost a year after Marcus Williams died. But here's something most people don't realize. Not every death on an offshore rig gets counted as a work-related fatality. If the Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement investigates and determines the death was not directly caused by the work being performed, it is classified as non-occupational. Heart attacks are the most common example. A worker has a heart attack on the platform, dies despite the medic's efforts, and the investigation concludes it was a pre-existing medical condition, not a workplace hazard. That death does not appear in the offshore fatality statistics. Studies have shown that night shift work increases the risk of heart attacks. The stress of offshore work, the irregular sleep schedules, the alarm systems that go off up to 8 times a day, the challenging sleeping conditions, the physical demands, all of those factors create what one psychiatric assessment called unprecedented nervous pressure. Workers live in an environment where their body never fully adjusts to a normal circadian rhythm, where they are constantly on alert, where the line between work time and rest time blurs because they are living on the job site. A heart attack that happens under those conditions might not be classified as work-related, but it is hard to argue the work did not contribute. The numbers do not capture the full picture, the official statistics. Undercount the true toll. When the helicopter lands at the hospital and the doctor confirms the death, a specific chain of communication begins. The administration and finance services manager on the rig, or someone in a similar managerial role depending on the company's structure, is responsible for notifying the authorities and the victim's next of kin. That notification usually happens through the company's human resources department, which contacts the family directly. The family is told their loved one has died, where it happened, and what the next steps are. Those next steps vary significantly depending on the company, the country, and the jurisdiction. Some companies have detailed protocols for transporting the body back to the family. Others coordinate with local authorities and morgues near the port where the helicopter landed. The body might be held in a hospital morgue, a county morgue, or a private facility while arrangements are made. The family waits. They are on shore, often hundreds or thousands of miles from where their loved one died, and they are dependent on the company to handle the logistics. They cannot visit the site. They cannot see where it happened. They're receiving information secondhand through phone calls and emails while trying to process the fact that someone they love is gone. The workers on the rig process it differently. Some of them were close to the victim. They worked the same shift, ate meals together, shared living quarters. Others barely knew the person. On a large platform with rotating crews, it is possible to work on the same rig as someone for months and never have a conversation. When a death happens, there is no official grief counseling, no trauma support team flown out to the rig. The crew talks about it quietly, if they talk about it at all. There is a culture of toughness in offshore work, a belief that you handle things and move on. Memorial services happen later, onshore, sometimes weeks after the death. By then the crew has rotated off, scattered back to their homes, and the moment has passed. The psychological impact of watching someone die or disappear on a rig in the middle of the ocean does not get addressed in any systematic way. You finish your shift, you go home, and you come back for the next rotation. Transportation is the deadliest part of offshore work. 51% of offshore fatalities are transportation incidents, and of those, 75% involve helicopters. Between 2003 and 2010, 49 of the 128 offshore deaths in the Gulf of America were helicopter crashes. Workers die in crashes during shift changes, during evacuations, during crew rotations. The commute to the rig is often more dangerous than the work itself. Families fear the helicopter ride as much as they fear the drilling, the machinery, or the storms. When a transportation incident kills multiple people at once, the recovery effort becomes even more complicated. Multiple bodies, multiple investigations, multiple families waiting for answers. A helicopter crash in the ocean means the bodies might not be immediately recoverable. The wreckage has to be located, often in deep water, and then salvage crews have to retrieve what they can. That process can take days or weeks. The families are told to wait. There's nothing else they can do. The Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement publishes its investigation findings eventually. The Marcus Williams case revealed systemic issues that went beyond one supervisor's decision to tie red tape around corroded grating. The report found that the company had not properly maintained the platform's infrastructure, that inspection schedules had been delayed, and that workers had raised concerns about safety hazards and been ignored. The recommendations included mandatory structural inspections at shorter intervals, better reporting systems for worker safety concerns, and stricter enforcement of repair timelines. Whether those recommendations get implemented depends on the company, the regulatory environment, and how much pressure the agencies can apply. Enforcement varies. Some companies respond quickly and make changes. Others treat the recommendations as suggestions and continue operating the same way they always have. The families of the victims receive the report months or years after the death. For some, it provides answers. For others, it just confirms what they already suspected. Their loved one died because someone decided red tape was good enough. Marcus Williams fell through corroded grating 80 miles off the Louisiana coast because someone in a position of authority saw a hazard, acknowledged it, and chose not to fix it. The investigation documented that choice in detail. It noted the timeline, the delayed response, the missed check-ins, and the decision that compounded the negligence. His family received that report and learned exactly how he died, exactly who knew about the danger, and exactly how long it took for anyone to act. But his family's experience is not universal. Another worker on another rig in another part of the world might die under similar circumstances, and the investigation might look completely different. The procedures for body transport, the standards for morgue facilities, the timelines for family notification, all of that changes depending on where the rig is and who operates it. There is no single answer to what happens when a worker dies in the middle of the ocean. There are dozens of answers, and they shift depending on the variables in play. Subscribe for more deep dives. Thanks.